Welcome back to Saints Together Conversations in Leadership and Christian Higher Education. My name is Jay McCurry, and I serve as the Provost and Chief Academic Officer at Randall University in Moore, Oklahoma. Saints Together assist educators and leaders to grow in leadership and Christian higher education through real conversations, practical tools, and faith forward wisdom. Today is episode 6, and we're talking about crisis leadership and reputation, responding to incidents, social media, and headlines with truth and wisdom. If you've been in education for any length of time, you already know this. You don't get to choose if a crisis shows up, only whether you'll be ready when it does. And in 2026, crisis isn't just the incident itself, it's the group text that starts 5 minutes after it happens. It's the Facebook post with half the facts. It's the screenshot that lives forever. And it's the headline that gets more clicks than truth. So today I want to talk about crisis leadership and reputation and how we respond to incidents, social media, and headlines with truth and wisdom. And I'm going to pull a few lessons from my doctoral work on stakeholder perceptions of leadership communication during a crisis. Because one of the clearest findings is this: people don't just remember what happened, they remember how you communicated. So, number one, I'll start here. Reputation is built in peacetime. Reputation isn't something that you scramble to protect once the house is on fire. Reputation is what you've been building in the ordinary weeks through steady leadership, consistent expectation, and honest communications. In my dissertation research, one theme that stood out was how strongly stakeholder confidence tracks with communication quality. In one set of parent survey results, the highest rated items included quality communication from administration. That's not accidental. People trust you before the crisis. They give you room to lead during the crisis. Here's my leadership takeaway: don't wait for the emergency to introduce yourself as a credible leader. Number two, know what kind of moment we're in. We're living in a time with threats and violence and fear. None of it is theoretical. The FBI's most recent reporting on active shooter incidents, it's sobering. The FBI designated 24 shootings as active shooter incidents in 2024. In the FBI's 2023 active shooter report, education locations accounted for 3 incidents, or 6%, of the 48 total incidents that year. Now, active shooter incidents are not the same thing as every school shooting that people talk about online, but it's still a clear signal. Leadership in education has to include readiness, coordination, and calm communication under pressure. And here's what else matters. The FBI has also emphasized broader patterns of crime occurring at school locations. In their Crime in Schools for 2024, agencies reported more than 1 million incidents occurring at school locations over that 5-year period. So if you're leading a campus, K-12 or higher education, this is part of the world that we're serving in. We don't panic, but we also don't pretend. And number 3, the first job in a crisis is to tell the truth fast enough to help. One of the biggest mistakes that leaders make in a crisis is thinking silence buys time. It doesn't. Silence creates a vacuum, and the vacuum gets filled by rumor, by fear, and somebody's cousin who knows somebody in the police department. In the research I did, communication quality was a major driver of confidence. In one year's parent survey's results, parents kept informed scored noticeably lower than other items. That gap matters. You can be doing many things right operationally, but if people don't feel informed, then they feel unsafe and they feel disrespected. So let me give you a simple framework that I live by. And the first is timing. Communicate early enough to prevent panic. And second is tone. Lead the emotional temperature down, not up. You don't have to have every answer to send the first message, but you do need to show leadership. Something as simple as, here's what we know right now, here's what we're going to do, and here's when you'll hear from us again. That last line, when you hear from us again, is gold. People can handle hard news better than they can handle uncertainty. And number 4, one voice, one message, especially on social media. Social media is not extra in a crisis, it's part of the incident environment. So here's an institutional discipline I believe in. You decide ahead of time who speaks, where you speak, and how you confirm accuracy. In the moment, you don't want five well meaning employees trying to clear things up in the comment section. That doesn't clear things up, it multiplies confusion. This is also where values show up. As Christian leaders, especially at Randall University, we can't be people who chase the crowd. We're called to be people of truth, and that means no exaggeration, no blame shifting, no half statements, no, we'll say whatever protects the brand. Because protecting the brand at the expense of truth always costs you more in the long run. Number five, communicate like a shepherd, not a spokesperson. There's a difference between public relations and pastoral leadership. And in a crisis, people can tell which one they're getting. In the survey results that I studied, parents expressed strong confidence when communication was present and clear. But they also cared about access to teachers, access to leadership, access to someone who would actually listen. So don't just push statements, create pathways, maybe a monitored email inbox, a scheduled update time, or a short video message. And when you do speak, speak with conviction and compassion. People need leadership that's steady, not leadership that's slippery. Number six, don't confuse speed with recklessness. Now, let me be clear. Fast communication doesn't mean sloppy communication. In a real incident, especially anything involving law enforcement, there are details that you cannot share. That's fine, but you can still lead. Say things like, we're working directly with law enforcement, or we will not speculate, or we will confirm details before we release them, or here's what you can do right now. That's not weakness, that is wisdom. And number seven, what you repeat is what people remember. In a crisis, people don't process information the way they normally do on a Tuesday morning. They're anxious, they're distracted, and they're scanning for threat. So your communication should be simple and repeatable. What happened, what we're doing, what you need to do, and when the next update is coming. And say it again and again and again. And number eight, after the crisis, the debrief is not optional. Here's where reputation is either restored or ruined the days after the incident. Do the debrief, own what needs to be owned, improve what needs to be improved, and communicate what you have learned. One of the strongest quiet lessons in my dissertation work is that stakeholders respond well when they sense leadership is opening and listening. If you want trust to grow, show people you're learning, not just defending. A strong leader can say, here's what we did well, here's what we're changing, and here's how we'll be better prepared the next time. That's not admitting fail. And number nine, bring it home to Randall University. At Randall, our mission is not just academic, we're shaping leaders. We're discipling students. We're building a community where faith and learning go together. And in moments of crisis, that mission gets tested, not in chapel, not in a classroom, in the pressure. So when we respond to incidents, whether it's a safety issue, a public accusation, a social media flare-up, or a headline, we respond as people committed to truth without cruelty, compassion without compromise, clarity without panic. That's not just leadership, it's a witness. And number 10, a closing charge. If you're listening today as a leader, here's my encouragement. Don't wait until the crisis hits to build your plan. Don't wait until emotions are high to decide your values. Don't wait until the rumor mill is running to decide how you'll communicate. Build trust now. Practice your communication systems now. Decide what truth and wisdom will look like now. Because when the moment comes, and it will, your people don't need a perfect leader, they need a steady one. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. If this episode helped you, I encourage you to share it with another leader who carries the weight of responsibility, because none of us are meant to lead through hard moments alone. Until next week, I encourage you to be the leader that you would follow. My name is Jay McCurry, and this is Saints Together.